Good day everyone, welcome to ProgeCAD Malaysia. Today I'm going to share with you an example on how to draw a simple drawing on using ProgeCAD, using some of the basic commands that is available. And by the look of this, it's just a simple square room size, which is around 3 meter by 3 meter, with one corner with a curved radius of 500 over at the bottom left side of the room. In this lesson or this example, we'll be using certain commands like construction lines, line command, text command, circle command, fillet command, trim command, and some dimension and text command as well. Let's get started. First off, we need to open a new drawing or generate a new drawing. Click on the icon, we have the new. Click open and you get to have an empty drawing. You can use the middle scrolling of your mouse, the middle scroll button to scroll and make the workspace bigger. And we start off with, let's look at this, 3 meter square. So we will do some construction lines. Depends on your settings, your construction lines can be in any color. So if you want to set your construction line to, apart from the default color, you can actually change the color to any color that you wanted. So we go into settings. We go under drawing settings, and under entity creation we have these construction lines. I have earlier set it to red, so you can actually set to another color that you wanted. So let's say we are going for cyan color. I think the default is actually cyan, so let's try green color. Then you click OK. Transparency, you can set it. The default is actually 40. So you can actually set it at 50 and above. But if it's too light, you may not be able to see the construction line or the reference line. So basically, construction line is something that you can set it automatically. It's actually automatically, once you execute this construction line, the layer will be set to non-printable. So this will not be printed out, it's just for references. So we'll base on this, we'll say, okay, green, I'll put it at 50. The default is at 40, so I put it at 50. I click OK. Then we go to the home. There's nothing here. So what we do is we click on the construction line. So the construction line keyboard command is actually C line. So never mind, we just click on the icon. And then we will just click. And then in order to get a perpendicular or at 90 degree or 0 degree, you can actually press the keyboard F8 to lock, so that you won't sway away from the 90 degree. Click on it and then do another one which is horizontal, and at any position you just click on the screen and enter. You get actually two construction lines here. As you can see, it's a little bit light because I set it as 50% transparency. So then we'll offset this using the command offset. You can go to modify here, offset, and then you type 3000 depending on your drawing scale or drawing unit. So for me is I base as 3000, so it's like 1 to 100 scale. So depending on what size you want to print, if you are printing at 1 to 1 scale, then you might put it as 3. But for me, I'm using it as a reference. In this example is 1 to 100 unit. I'll type 3000, enter. I click on the horizontal construction line, move upwards 3000. I click on the vertical construction line, move to the right side, click, and then you get to see the reference lines. Zoom in, and you can see that you have a square 3 by 3 meter. So if you think that this may not be the color that you wanted, so one is created, a new C line layer will be created automatically for you, and you can actually change that color to say yellow, and you get a yellow is more prominent in that sense. So now we have the reference of 3 meter by 3 meter. We shall create the wall by again using the offset. So let's say what is the thickness of the wall. Let's say it's 100 or 150. In this case, I just put it as 150. So let's base on 150. We offset from the center 75, because 150 divided by the 2 is actually 75. So offset by 75. Offset for all the walls. And now we get a square sort of room size. And now we need to create the layer for wall. So we'll create a new layer called wall. We set the color to say cyan color. Then we shall close this. We highlight the offset as the wall by clicking on the lines, and then we change it to wall. Just exit the command. Then now we need to trim off all these edges. So in order to trim off all these edges, we need to use the command called fillet. Click on the fillet under modified template. Then as you can see under here, radius is 0. That is correct. Start to fillet the walls. Press enter again. Either spacebar or enter in the keyboard. You can use the spacebar, it will be easier for you. So just fillet the edges. Fillet, fillet, and fillet. Now you get a square room. And then now how do we get the radius of 500 at the bottom left corner of the room? We use fillet. And this time we type R for radius. Just key in R in your keyboard, enter, and then you put 500, enter. And then now you are having the radius at 500. Then you just click on this line and this line, and you should get a radius of 500 here. Then from here, what you need to do is just offset. Instead of 75, we put back at 150. Enter. Then offset from this line. You should get 150 radius of this wall, a curve. And to remove the two lines, just execute the command trim. Select the first object, enter, then click the object that you wanted to be trimmed. And there you go. So you get the basic room setup. So what do you do next? We wanted to have a door here. We should actually do the door. What we do is, again, we extend the line of this wall. click the imaginary line, or the line that is the one of the side of the wall, the boundary, and then enter. Then click on the line that you want to extend to, and then enter. So let's say the door, what size is the door? What is the size of the door? Let's say the size of the door is actually 900. So again, we offset it. I type 900, enter. Then I click on this line to have that door width, enter. From here, I need to do the trimming and adjustment. So let's do the door frame. The door frame itself is 50, say for example. These are all examples. I may not be correct, so it depends. It's just an example drawing that I want to show. So what you do is you have the door frame, which is 50, then you do again the offset, then 50. Click on this line and click on this line, you get the door frame. Now we need to trim off all the small edges. But before we trim off all the small edges, we need this circle to indicate that this is a door. So we will create a circle. Click on the circle command, which is under draw. Then click on this edge, the center point of the circle, and then pull to the other edge. Of course, you can actually set your intersection knob intersection to capture the intersection. This will be, we will actually show you this example in the next video. So I will click the intersection here. And then now we'll start trimming the unwanted edges or unwanted objects. But before that, we have also the door leaf itself. So again, that door leaf, we do it as 50. We do another offset. And we go under two templates, modify, and then offset 50. Enter. Then we offset 50 again from here. And now we'll do all the trimming. So we'll click on the trim command. And then we'll select edges like this. And we start trimming. So we don't want this. We'll trim here. We shall trim here as well. We don't need that circle. Trim this. And then zoom in. You can actually use the middle scroll, the middle button, the scroll button of the mouse, and zoom in. Trim this. And then you scroll out again using the middle button. And if you were to hold the middle button of your mouse, press and hold, you can actually move. And this will move the drawing, the workspace itself. And then zoom in here. And this is actually a straight line instead of a circle. What we need to do is, again, we go to draw, under line, we shall draw a line, capture the end point of this or intersection of this, and then type PER for perpendicular of this, and we get the edge. Now we shall trim the edges. Select the boundary to be trimmed, and then select the object to be trimmed. Now we basically get something like this. But what we need is something shown in this drawing. So we shall do some brick. Using brick command, break up the objects. So in order to do the brick, you can click the brick, command here, modify, under two templates, modify brick. Click on the brick, select the entity to brick, say for example this, and then type F for first brick point, type F, enter, capture the first brick point, and then for the second brick point, capture the same break point so that it didn't break where you're not supposed to break, so you break at that exact point. So you just break it, and now do the same for the rest. As you can see, if I didn't press the F, you will break from the first point to that point, so this is not what we wanted. So now we extend it back to that position. We click on the boundary, then we extend this, enter, and extend it. So now we shall break this line. So we'll enter break, select the line, type first break, and then break. Okay, so basically, if you can see, this is already broken down, and this is also already broken down. So now we need to remove this. Sorry, not remove this, because we need the frame here, that little frame, that little frame. So you need to trim this off. We'll trim off the door. We select the boundary, trim this, and then we will trim off this and this, enter, and we shall get a fairly similar to this door. And now we need to change, but before this, let's check whether this has been broken down. Yes, this is not broken down, so we need to break this first point and then second point. And now we will create a layer called door, and we put it as yellow as per that drawing, example drawing. Close this. So we shall select items like this, okay, and then we will change that layer to door. Now you got a door with that color, and now this one is actually red in color. You need to put another layer called drop. Say for example, that line is a drop. So what we do is we'll put it as the red, and then from here we just highlight this line, and then we put it as drop. And this one, we shall also change this to door. But because door layer by color is actually yellow, so we'll highlight this and then we change it to red. Bear in mind, if the property is not by block or by layer, when you change the layer color to another color, this, if it's not by layer, it will not change accordingly. So this will I will explain in another video, another example video on how to do or how to use the layer manager and so forth. So we zoom out, basically we get the simple idea here, the simple square room. And now we need to put in the dimension. So before you actually put in the dimension, there are two things that you need to do. First is to style the text. So we go annotate. You see the text here, text style. Click on text style. By default, ProgeCAD will create a standard text style. So what you need to do is just create a new style. So we put it as dimension. This is purely for dimension purposes only. And we use Arial, regular font. And then we put a fixed height. Depending on your fixed height, because my drawing is actually 1 to 100. So 200, I put it 200 text height. So for yours, your unit measure may be different. So just click apply. And then we have, remember, we have a room word or text there. So we need to create another one. Name as text 300 because I wanted that text to be slightly bigger. So again, we just click OK. And then we put 300 here. Apply. Now, OK. The next we need to do is to change the dimension or add the dimension style. So again here, you just go to dimension style. Under annotate, next to the text that we have created, the text style that we have created, just click on this dimension style. And we should create a new style called dimension. Click continue. It will pop up for you to do changes. So for me, it's very simple. What we wanted to do is the lines should be in red color, so that I will tell you exactly why in the next video on how to plot this, because line red is actually 0.1 style, 0.1 line width, to 0.2, 0.3 line width, and so forth. Subsequent will follow up to 1.0. So it's based on the color which is presented in the layer manager. For line type, we'll go for by block. So we'll put red. And then the extension line, which is this, you see the white color, so we'll put it as red as well. We want to change the arrowhead to dot fill, and we shall actually follow dot fill. Starting arrowhead and the leader arrowhead also dot fill. Arrow size just maintain as it is. Then text, now we change to dimension. Text height, we do it as 1. So we fit the arrow or the text into the dimension. Then we force text always inside the extension line. And primary units, alternate units, tolerance, this will not go into it. So we have did some basic changes here. Then we click OK. Close this. And now let's try to dimension the wall. So we click on linear. Select the center of this. And enter. The dimension style, the thick is actually very small. So what we need to do is we remove the override. Then modify. We should put the arrow size as 50. Let's try this. Click OK, close. You can see this has changed a little bit bigger. So if you feel that this is not big enough for you, so you might want to change it again. Always remove or clear the overrides first, and then modify, then put it as 100, say for example, and click OK. Now if we put at 100, actually the thick or the dot size is actually bigger. So now we can do the other area, the other side. Again, we click on linear dimension, select the center to center, and we get the dimension. And now you can see that my dimension here, there is actually a little break in between. If I zoom in, from here to the center, there is a little break. So we need to adjust that. Again, we go back to dimension style. We clear the overrides and then modify. And then we go to lines. And extension offset, we put it as 50. Now there's some changes here. Very quickly you can see. So I click OK, close, and now I got a small break here, which is about 50. So we have done this. Next, we will create a dimension for this radius. Again, we click on linear, enter, click the entity for dimension. We get 500 here. And in order to do the radius, we go into radius dimension. We click on radius dimension and we select the radius, the circle of this, and we should get this radius R500 radius dimension. Now in order to do this, we need to change the text to yellow because we have text in yellow color. So we go back to layer, layer manager, and we shall create a new layer called dimension. And then change that color to yellow. Close it. Click and highlight the dimensions that you want to change. And then go under layer control, change to dimension, escape key, and you should get this dimension in yellow. So because you wanted print out, so that one will go into how to print and plot later on. Now this is the last part. We need to put the room text. So we go to annotate. We shall change, yes, we shall change back to text 300, and then we can actually click on multi-text. You want multi-text or single text? So let's go for single text line. And we click at this position. Rotation angle of text 0. Then we type in room. If you have done, you just escape. And we go back to layer. We need to create a new layer. This is text 300. And we go under the color of green. Close this. Same basic function. We go to layer control and change this to text 300. Basically, I have shown you an example on how to draw a square room, a simple room. Of course, this is architectural where you just draw a room. You can apply to any other consultant or any other objects or any other drawings that you wanted. You can actually create using the same commands to create simple objects, simple drawing, and this is a simple example. Thank you for watching. Have a good day and goodbye.